This is Joe, and you're listening to the Oh Gatekeeper podcast, where every week I'll be talking to my people about what gets them up in the morning, what their purpose is, and why they make things. Hopefully, it will inspire you to do the same. Thank you. You can get episodes early and without advertisements over at ohgatekeeper.com, as well as weekly bonus episodes, playlists, and my Joe and Friends series. Enjoy. This week, we have a new friend and hero of mine, Baxter Dury, and all of his wondrous tales. Are you, where are you?
I'm in actually a house I've always lived in since a kid that I sort of reclaimed in Hammersmith, West London, over where I've got Hammersmith, but we're actually overlooking the River Thames. And I managed to get it back off the fact it was in the family still, and I rent it off the rest of the family. And I live here with my son, like I did with my old man years ago. And it's a sort of more of a tamer castle than it used to be, but it used to be quite crazy. But it's a lovely gaff, but it's still a bit sort of, it's pretty fucked inside. But yeah.
That's cool. I was chatting to Nigel Godrich recently
Yeah.
about, because he's just reclaimed his family home, similar
Yeah.
situation, and I was
Yeah.
really envious of that, being able to kind of, because do you feel like, I don't know, going back, do you feel like you are living in any shadows in that way, or have you just completely reclaimed it, changed it, made it yours?
It was a sort of emotional exorcism, and because it wasn't, even though it was a pretty crazy gaff, to be honest, and it was emotionally an explosive place when I was young. But when you're young, you don't really know the difference between sort of exaggerated but parental behavior. You know what I mean? You think that's all normal. And until I got back in, when I came back in, I was a bit haunted by some of that, thinking that was not quite a way a kid should be brought up. So it took me a few years to feel comfortable, but now I feel like it's ours. My son is very zen, you know what I mean? He's very like, stop talking about famous things, or stop. He's very anti any, and we're very peaceful. Some of the neighbours still live here since I was 7. They're very ancient. And they sort of, when we moved back in, they started making crosses, and I'm thinking, fuck, they're back, those fucking. And I was like, I had to really address them and say, look, I'm not the same sort of satanic.
Yeah.
We're a measure back towards normality, a measure, not completely, but a measure back to somewhere normal. And they sort of, they were okay. And now I'm complaining about people upstairs.
Yeah, you're like fucking glass clinking. That is a funny. So, how old's your son?
22 now. He's not
22.
even that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the perfect age, really, because I'm really interested in my kid's 6, and she's
Okay.
like, obviously, it's hard to tell. She's very kind and lovely,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
she's 6. She's like,
Yeah. Great age.
yeah. Uh, the other day, she said, "You don't know what I've been through." I was like, I know exactly what you've fucking been through in that case. But yeah, 22, because what I've noticed with the younger generations or whatever letter they've given, but like they're way less interested in the debauchery that
No, especially
we were.
yeah, they're not into the sort of, especially the myth of it, because I come from a bit of a myth making. There's a lot of stories about it, and that even enhances his sort of disbelief in it all. He doesn't really need to hear any. Well, I was quite impressed by it by his age, but he's just not impressed by any of it. Yeah, they're totally. It's a sort of seasonal thing, isn't it? The next generation will be nuts again, I'm sure. They'll be licking the floor again. But in a way, I'm quite happy about this little period of sobriety. It's got sobriety and a lot of healthy living and all that. Kind of boring in a way, but in another way, not.
I've noticed it recently. There's there's no kids getting absolutely cunted on vodka in the park, and they're just interested in more interesting stuff, which I find. But you're right. There's a reactionary thing, isn't there? Generation, like they'll be like, the next generation will be like, yoga. Licking the floor is a good expression.
Yeah,
I
they're going to
actually
go on.
go on. No, you go on.
No, you go on. You
I
go
actually
on.
licked the floor once in a
Did
tube
you?
station as a bet,
Ah, which
and like
tube
looking.
station was it? A clean one?
I mean, is there such a thing? I
Yeah,
can't
it might
remember
be.
which one it is. Fucking stupid. What were
Well,
you
that's
gonna
well.
say?
I can't remember now. That sort of
Sorry.
that overshadowed it. I can't think.
Well, maybe we're the floor licking generation, and the next two or three will be all right.
To be
Um,
honest, I mean, I think I was, I was a little step towards, but I think I saw so much debauchery that by the time I was 19, I always thought, fuck it. I think I saw so much of it that I was shown the option of not, you either step over that edge or you don't. You go fully committed into that where people die and shit. I saw when I was growing up, people perished, but so I think I just decided not to be like that. You know what I mean?
mm,
So I'm
yeah,
quite controlling like that. Ultimately, I don't do that stuff much anymore.
mm, yeah, same. Still took me a while to learn though. I'm surprised how long it took me. Nine, seeing my mum's fucking lingering, long and painful demise. I just didn't learn quick enough. It's mad, really.
Okay, fair enough. What happened?
She's just fucking savage drinker, and
Oh, was she? Fuck,
yeah,
okay.
and she had like a major stroke, so she was paralyzed down the right side and lost her speech completely. She was in rehab for
Wow.
like 2 years.
Were you a kid then?
I was 16.
Fuck, that's heavy.
Yeah, because I just started drinking and doing drugs. It's like.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We don't learn at that age.
no, it's not. Your brain's not even close to developed yet,
No.
especially boys.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so uh, it took, and then she died when I was, um, when was it? 30. So
Right.
like I think 31. I'm terrible with timelines. You know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't like that was it then, or even before then, the stroke, that was it. There was no way that was gonna. Anyway, I find it fascinating how even though the lesson's right in front of you, you know.
Did you live with her when that was all going on?
Yeah, I lived with her up until I was 19. I started uni, and
Yeah.
then my stepdad, who was her carer, obviously, he died. So
Similar thing.
no, he's just a heavy smoker. He wasn't really a
Right,
mad
okay.
drinker or anything. Um, And then yeah, so I became a carer, but I just started uni, so I stayed at uni for 3 years, and then she got ill, so I moved. She got like her kidneys packed in, so I moved back. But like this, the reason why I'm like interviewing, I guess, chatting to
Yeah.
people,
It's
whatever.
chatting.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
chatting. Yeah, sorry, I'm new to this. I kind of had this like thing where I felt like I was a bit lost a while ago, and I was like, well, I just like what? Why did I do this? Why did I start it? And I thought the question of why was really important because it stopped me. Took what we were talking about, it stopped me going down the same pathway as my mum. Or I think would if she had found a creative outlet, even if it was like fucking cross stitch or something, I think it would have helped in a sense
Yeah.
of therapy, whatever you want to call it. But so what I want to do is try and create a thing where it's just encouraging people to make shit, be happy, make things be happy, or at least learn about yourself in any form of expression you can, and it might save your life or someone else's, yada yada. So it's more about why than how. And I always start off with the same two questions. Um, and it's kind of linked into what we've been talking about. So I'll just start with those if that's all right.
Go for it, man.
So the first is how would you describe your creative language?
Mm. Ponderously. How would I? Erratic. I mean, I'm not sure how I ever essentially achieve things, but do you mean when you say my creative language, do you mean the sort of rules I live by, or my beliefs, or it's quite an open question, isn't it? What
Yeah.
like you mean? what
because
motivates me, or what,
well,
like,
the reason it's open is because I like the idea that people see the question differently. Because, you know, for me, I'll give you an example. For me, it would be a constant search to feel connected to the universe that comes out as openly as possible, so as to encourage other people to be open, or at least see themselves openly. If I was to describe your creative language as a fan, I would say um, deceivingly vulnerable. Like,
yeah, very much, yeah.
I'm not your fucking friend. It's a very vulnerable thing to put on record. That opens me up to like a better conversation for me as a fan, where I'm just like, I'm immediately in. You're not holding back, and you're painting a vivid picture, and I love that. So that would be my interpretation. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's sort of dead on. I was thinking about that earlier, about someone describing something. I mean, yeah, I mean, my language, the sort of language I get into, the linguistics of stuff, which is potentially my strength, it is about sort of male vulnerability, and about, and I'm confrontationally shy. And I mean, I'm shy, but I'm confrontational, but only given the opportunity to be loud, I will be, but I'll also back off. And it's all about that sort of me swinging between those two moods, those two people. But also I kind of like the quite nosebleedy music. You know what I mean? I like quite sort of harsh, and I like those things that contrast. So something a bit femme lad. I don't know if that's a word you can say, but something a
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
like sensitive, and there's a sort of laddishness which I embrace, which I like, and is brought up within, and I sort of like the kind of bravado of it, but hate the message of it. I can't bear any of the message of, I don't give a fuck about men thinking they're qualified to be anything beyond being a donut. You know what I mean? You're a donut if you're a man. You're born a donut. But it's like, but I really like, I like, and it's quite nuanced. You know, it's about these little nuanced moments of being a bit frightened and not knowing what to do is what I write about, really.
Mm,
So it's, and they're sort of really they're about micro politics. So I don't ever look beyond my own vain bubble, because
mm,
that's all I understand. And it's very vain. It's very sort of self obsessive in a way, but it's sort of reflective, I guess, on it's reflective on what's going on around you in a more global way, if that makes any sense. But it's about, yeah, my awkward position,
mm,
and sort and my kind of transactions with people
mm,
and stuff, I guess. Yeah. So you're right. It's about vulnerability, all of it, actually,
mm.
absolutely all of it.
So
Nothing else.
the micro politics of it and the nuance, as you say, it's like I find really interesting because it's like, for instance, you know, I think I misfire a lot. I don't think you do misfire. I think I misfire a lot in my tone and my lyrics. And I think people like, I think I'm bringing up my micro politics and nuance. And then like someone will come up to me on the street, get me in a fucking headlock and be like, oh, you fucking cunt. And I'm like, whoa, you know, and I think they misconstrue a lot of the songs and the tone of it as something like hateful or aggressive in a it's actually an aggression toward the context or the dichotomy of it rather than a single person or the fucking because life is complex and like I like to kind of dance amongst it, you know. But I think do you ever get headlocks?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm well for that, but I think your music is energetically framed, right? And there's four other people wearing dresses, and it's all everyone's going for that. They're all ambitious. There's a lot of ambition in a good way, a positive way, from a band that all conspire to
Mm,
frame what you're saying. So that assists in people reacting to your music, but it also can make people misconstrue that. But it's a good thing. I mean, you're not meant to be too clear. And there's abstract storytelling is important, and it's all mysterious, isn't it? And we're not making documentaries. And it's only a sort of motivation point, I find. And then fuck them if they don't understand. I think what's clear is that you mean it. And when you mean it, people connect, don't they? And they obviously connect with what you say, because thousands and millions of people, you've been very successful at relating to the crowd that you wanted to relate to. So you're doing it perfectly well. And so is everyone else in your band. There's a good, very united, it feels, when I've ever seen you guys play or seen you on a video or seen a song. It feels quite united to me. I mean, I'm sure it's not always, but it feels that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it isn't, but the work is, we kind of, whenever we get back to it, you just got to keep your head down and try and
it's great.
Put the resentment to one side.
I mean, you can't fucking coop people up for that long and not. It's just humanly impossible. It's just, and it's all bullshit. No one really. It's just, it's easier being someone like me who it's his band. Then you have some people that are working in there, and then it sort of gets rid of that argument. I can just argue with myself that way, and everyone just finds me a bit of a lunatic. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone bought me a T-shirt saying ADHD or whatever. They're all, we're all quite Bible group in our band as well. You know what I mean? I've sort of chose it so it doesn't go off the rails.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm responsible for what goes wrong in it. But we're a lovely group. But I'm really deviating from what you were talking about. But I think you're right though. You sort of said it in a nutshell, that I write about vulnerability and it's my own. And that's all I know about. And that is it. And I think, and I don't really ever not talk about that.
I think that is what the success is. You said it. I don't know if you were being disparaging or not, but you were saying, it's very insular, self-reflective. You didn't use those words, but I am.
It's true.
But I think that's why it's so weighty, is that people see themselves in it. The more honest you are, the more honest an artist is, the more it's a mirror. It feels to you, if you're not completely narcissistic, a bit like indulgent. When I sing about grief, I'm like, this is a bit but that's what people want to see. They want to see their grief. They don't see
they want to feel. People could sort of tell kind of when someone's genuine, can't they? They can just feel it. It doesn't matter how. It's just genuine. I think when you say it and all the things you've gone through, it. So you're saying it, and that's why it works. It doesn't really matter how loud it gets or how many people. It's a good sign someone gets you in a headlock. It means it's connected, and that's that person probably trying to say, "I'm really vulnerable as well." Well, I'm going to get you in a headlock first, just to be close to you.
Yeah, no, I do feel the love in the headlock. I will admit that. Doesn't mean I'm all right with it. No, I am. To be fair, I love it. Second question is kind of like what we've been talking about, but it's kind of, I was thinking about this before we were doing it, because it's kind of not awkward. You get it all the time. So I'll try and frame it differently. Because my father was a sculptor, and when I talk about my parents as a sculptor, people always go, "Oh, you must have learned so much." And of course I did. I learned a lot from his work ethic and his artistic fucking language and how to cultivate it over the years. And I'm very grateful for him and his love and his art. I love his art. I think it's great. But what I feel is underrated is my mum, who just worked at the tax office, was a huge influence on my art. And so I get I don't know how many times you had to talk about your upbringing, but the question is, how much of your upbringing remains in your creative language?
I mean, I think a lot, but I mean, both my parents met at art school, so they were both painters. My mum was, I mean, I've got a room full of her paintings in here. She was the daughter of the Thomas that ran Newport Art School. And she was the sort of great hope of her family, and she was an amazing painter, and she was what they call into slow art. So she was an old school portrait painter. in the early 60s and eventually got to the Royal College of Art, where she met Dad, who was the absolute opposite, who was making paintings that I'm going to show you there, sort of semi-pornographic, like nude, a bit. And they were sort of designed, but they weren't great pieces of art, but they were vivid, they were evocative. And she rolled up, the only one that actually could draw and the only one that could actually paint properly, and wasn't interested in smoking pot and wasn't interested in all the craziness, and was really quiet and quite shy and very normal and didn't drink and just grafted, and met my old man, who was the fucking opposite, total loud man. But Dad was he's obviously disabled, so he was compensating and was very loud and very center of attention. And the two of them, luckily for me, I had an equal measure of both of them. And she definitely was under-recognized and is not ever talked about. Equally is important in what I do and who I am. And so was he. And they were, but I'm lucky that they were both brilliant. They were both absolutely brilliant. She was brilliant. And I think actually at art school, everyone kind of admired her the most. Eventually, after all the pop arty sort of iconography, all that stuff sort of washed away, it didn't really mean much. But she was amazing. She was an amazing painter, an amazing drawer, and ultimately they admired her the most. And she was very quiet about it. So I learned a lot of like being humble about working hard. And she never stopped working. And she never stopped working, not for a great goal of being recognized or talked about. She just never stopped working because she sort of loved it. So that's what I learned from her, that she loved it and she did it almost for the right reasons. And Dad was, he was fucking like, I don't know, like a sort of, if you got a rhinoceros and covered it in that end cling film, that's what, he was a fucking lunatic. So,
your mother and the motivation of making, like, do you see that, like, is that how do you see success in art? Because like my dad was like, he's still working now, 70 something, and he's never made money from it. He just gets up in the morning, 6 a.m, excited to go to work. He loves it. He's always just been making ever since he left art school. And that's what I see success as. Yeah. That's my version of success, is to be able to get up in the morning and be excited about what you're about to do. So like, I echo to that with your mum. That idea of,
I think she was that. Did he go to Newport Art School then?
He went to Newport Art School and then Glasgow. Yeah.
Wow. So he might have. I wonder if that ever crossed. That'd be amazing if it did. It's very much. I'm a bit corrupted because I'm I've seen Mum and I've seen Dad and I've been through my own process, and music, as you know. I'm starting a whole album campaign now, and that's full of ups and downs. And as my Zen-like son says, expectation is your greatest weakness. And I realised that.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, fucking hell, don't say that to me. And it's so true. Because it's difficult, isn't it, when you suddenly and all the spivs and music and all the inflated promises and all your own stupidness for believing it, and not actually being more like my mum and probably like your dad, and just going, all right, I'm very lucky that I'm able to do this. I think that I deviate from that quite easily, but I'm reminded of it, and I think that's the safest place to be if you're going to be artistic and you're going to do things that don't really configure to a wider, commercial enterprise. I think you have to be really careful about controlling you're having sort of pure goals about what you're doing. You have to, but you don't always, do you? I mean, you don't. You sort of
no, not always
slip off, and you need to make money, and you need it to be on fucking playlists, and that fucking person to like it, and the sort of Nick Grimshaw world of fucking whatever.
if one fucking spiv says something about your album, all the compliments go out the window, and you just remember
Totally.
that one fucking prick, and like you want to beat them, and that's a like not physically. Well, no, I do want to beat them physically. I'm not gonna lie,
Physically, yeah. Oh,
but
totally.
like you can't. I don't know. I'm not one to. But after a while, you do forget, and you're like, it's all nonsense. It's all noise.
It's noise. Yeah, it is noise. But you don't really learn. And maybe we're not meant to totally learn. I think ultimately we control our reactions. They slow down. I'll get over it a few days quicker, maybe.
Mm.
I won't be, like we didn't get, like yesterday, we didn't get on the A list on something. You know what I mean? I was like, this cannot be. Why am I? And then I sort of had to sit and everyone, I'm freaking out to everyone, and everyone's like, oh, yawn, shut up. You know what I mean? Just get over it. You'll be fine. I'll be fine, and it will be fine.
Mm.
And that's ridiculous. I even get bothered by that.
Campaigns, they're a bizarre one. I think they're like really therapeutic at times, but like to actually process the album almost. Like, it sounds really, I don't know, wanky, but it is. I find it really cathartic to go, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's you realize some of your intentions afterwards, which I think is really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, you do. Yeah, yeah. You become very clear about because you're in the process of making something. You're not really, it's a sort of unconscious thing, isn't it? Really.
Mm-mm.
Well, if it's quite good, it usually is. And I
And
find, yeah, you start to validate what it means
mm.
in good ways and bad ways. You think, well, a lot of pretentious bollocks that. It's all like,
I need to stop
yeah,
drinking wine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, totally.
What do you produce your own stuff? Who produces your work?
I mean, I sort of always a mixture of me and somebody else, but like this last album, I worked with a guy called Paul Epworth, as
Ah,
he's like a kind of nuclear super producer.
yeah.
It
How was
hasn't really
that?
worked for a while. It was amazingly good fun and brilliant, and it was just what I needed in a way, someone to shoulder it. And he sort of didn't really listen to me much, and I thought got a bit pissed off about that, puzzled by that at first, and then I sort of saw the why that works, and I just was left to do my thing, and he sort of did his thing. We
Mm.
sort of co-wrote it together very quickly. I turned up. He saw us play at Glastonbury, and I knew him, and he asked whether we should do something. And always, sometimes when you have these meetings, it's a bit of an empty gesture, isn't it? You think, yeah, we're just at Glastonbury talking bollocks. And then it happened really quickly, and we were in the studio in his big palatial studio, and I've turned up with a few sort of skeletal ideas, and he just didn't really listen to them really. If I'm honest, and I thought, well, fuck up, not even listening to my music, and proceeded just to make music. And I thought, well, that's a bit rude. But then I sort of realised what I was trying to do and what he suddenly did was exactly what I wanted to do. And in about 2 months we just went, Vroom. We
Wow.
just finished it in about 2 or 3 months, and it was such a brilliant, brilliant experience actually working
Mm.
with him. He was he works he's got a sort of weighty confidence,
Mm.
and an amazing studio, and he just didn't deliver. He never looked back. He never listened. If you done something yesterday and you were, and it didn't matter if it was better than what you'd done today. He just never looked back. He just
Mm.
looked forward, and he had this real positive way of working. I loved it. I absolutely loved every minute of it. At
Okay.
first, I was sort of just stealing the posh fruit in the posh studio, thinking, I'm just going to eat this fruit and get the fuck out of
Get the
here.
fuck
Trying to
out
nick the doilies, you know what I mean?
of
Thinking, fuck it, I'm not going to be here for long. And it was actually a brilliant marriage.
Was
And
that
there
at a
wasn't a
church?
moment,
Was
yeah,
that
in the
yeah,
church.
that's right. Yeah.
We started off in this tiny little corner, and then we went right to the top floor where this beautiful place and all these amazing synths, and it was brilliant. Actually, one of the best experiences I've ever had, and just a lovely, big, cuddly guy with massive rings and massive sort of inflated things, big rings, and sort of ridiculous stuff around him, big Porsches it turned up with. And I was thinking, who's this
Sick.
bloke? And he was absolutely 100% lovely and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So
Amazing.
yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Is it? Are you? Is your last always your favorite?
I mean, for a moment, maybe, yeah, there's a bit of that goes on, but I think, yeah, I guess so. You could go through that. And then you like, once you don't like that one, you realize the last one, oh, that shit. Yeah, you kind of, it's deceptive, isn't it?
So
It sort of depends on what relationship you have with it, with an audience and all that, doesn't it? How it
yeah.
works, how they work for you. Some things just seem to work when you start playing them. Some things just don't. Some things are, yeah.
Do you have a most? Do you feel there's the most like accomplished piece of work that you've done? That, however you see the word accomplished.
I mean, I think I might be in the current haze of this one, but I really love this one. But yeah, no, I've seen merits in all of them really, and
yeah.
Also, when you start playing the really old ones again, or the things you played for 15 years, you start thinking, fuck this. And you have to be brave enough to get rid of stuff, is what I think is really clear. Without sort of disconnecting from an audience as well. And remember that you're entertaining. It's quite a hard balance, that stuff, isn't it? I'm sure you have the same thing where you're thinking, this fucking tune, if I sing it in this stupid way, in this stupid dance, my stupid, you start to think, oh, I'm such like a cliche of my own self, like.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right. That phrase, like remembering you're there to entertain, and like not that I would ever make myself miserable with that. And like I think coming back from lockdown, COVID, uh, and being able to connect with people again, it just made me realize those songs that are the most popular are weighted with something that is electric and love and fucking stuff that's way more important than my tiny little ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they're really, yeah, they're important to people, aren't they? Have you made, how many albums have you made since lockdown? What is it? Did you make
Two,
one or two?
two
Right, okay.
hold on. Since
You've been,
lockdown, I guess there was Crawler and Tank too, yeah.
so you've been in it, haven't you? You've been in a cycle for, are you out of that cycle? Are you playing at the moment or not?
We're just about to do a 2 week tour. We haven't played since January, and then we're not
Right.
playing again until September. We're in the middle of writing and recording an album. We went to La Fabrique, and if you ever
Oh
done
yeah,
that,
what was that like?
I fucking loved it.
Did you? It's really
It's,
posh.
it
Is it
is,
in the countryside? Yeah.
yeah, south of France, surrounded by vineyards and that, and it's fucking nuts. It was beautiful.
Can you say who's doing it, or are you keeping it?
Nigel and Kenny Beach.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, that's a good. Have you done? That's first time with it.
Second time with them. We
Right. Okay.
did Tank, the last one we did
Okay.
with Nigel
Okay.
Godrich and Kenny Beach. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh, so that's a nice vibe then.
Yeah, it's a nice vibe. Like there was a bit of that thing. Do you go back? Do you ever go back to the same studios?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I
Oh,
like, yeah,
we've never
sometimes. Would
done
you
it.
not like that? Okay, okay.
We felt like we were trying to recreate the magic a bit.
Right.
Only at points, not all the way. Just like it was at the back of my head a couple of times.
But
Um,
I don't know if I deviated again from your question. I mean, what I'm saying is, yeah, I am. I'm lucky. I did have some really brilliant parents. But my mum also passed away when I was 21. So that was a bit of a hardship. And then dad when I was 27. So I did lose them quite early, but they did leave an amazing one thing they both shared. And they split up when I was really young, when I was one. But the only respect dad ever showed to anyone was to my mum.
mm,
My mum always never ever was disrespectful about dad. Everyone was disrespectful about dad, you know what I mean? Because he was a total cunt sometimes. But those two were so respectful, and they shared this very clear view about hard work and about what is good and what is bad. And I think I have that, and I'm very honourable to that.
mm,
And I think it's a bit samurai-esque, you're a bit like, and I feel it's a bit like when that's the best bit of nepo-ness I've ever inherited. You know what I mean? When people call you nepo, but that's the bit that I'm like, oh, I'm very lucky to get that. We caused so much. Well, dad caused that. He had a drum kit set up right in front of where I am now. Big old Slingerland drum kit, and he used to play it because he didn't give a fuck. And then when I was about 8, I used to answer the door, and PC Honey would come around, walk in the house, and then he wouldn't come into this room because he knew Dad was smoking so much pot, and he would make himself a cup of tea, talk to Ian from the kitchen, go, Ian, you've got to see. And the guy from the National Theatre either lived below or above us, and he turned up with a hammer once. My dad was in the actual bathroom with the last man from a certain tribe playing a didgeridoo, and he had his balls hanging out in the bath trying to get that. It was so bonkers.
That's
I was like
fucking insane.
Elliot from ET, you know. I was like, fuck, what's going on?
That's crazy.
Anyway, so it's not like that anymore. But you know, in a way, all that craziness I sort of miss in a way, because
Yeah.
it's kind of positive craziness.
Yeah. Creative and lots of interesting people around. Like
Yeah.
I've never because I come up a different way, man. I can't do chaos in any way. Stresses me out. Except for Glastonbury.
We had a great gig there last year. I loved it. I
What
was sort of
stage
willing
were
to go,
you?
no, on the Park stage. I loved it actually, to be honest. I was sort of turned up a bit cynical, good usual. Oh my God, I love it here so much. And I ended up staying in some an old friend of my parents had a house right next to the Evises, and they'd
Oh,
lived there
nice.
since the 60s. And I stayed in the house in Glastonbury, and then she drove in a little Morris Minor through all the gates, beeping everyone out of the way. And they all knew her. She was 80.
What?
Candice, her name was, and she drove me to my stage. And she had the fucking way. She was American, beeped, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, Candice." We just drove through the crowds in a
Amazing.
1970s Morris Minor. It was the best fucking experience you could have ever had.
That's a very Baxter Dury way of getting into
Yeah, it
Glastonbury, I'll tell you
was.
that.
It was brilliant. I left school at 14.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. I never. I mean, I went. I went to quite a few schools, and then when I was about 14, when I lived there, in fact, I got sent to like a. My mum persuaded Dad to send me to like a posh tutorial college for a few months, and I only lasted 6 months there, and that was it. I never did. I never did it. I've never done a qualification or anything.
Wow.
I went on tour with Dad. I went on. He was in a theatre show with Jane Horrocks, and we went around Europe. I did that instead. It was brilliant. Smoked
Amazing.
loads of spliff and rolled everyone's spliff and did things like that. Little spivvy 15-year-old, yeah. So it was great. Actually, it was a clever thing for Dad to do, not to
Yeah.
force me back to school. Yeah, I was
You
never
could tell that
possible.
it just wasn't for you,
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
wasn't. Yeah, it was his fault anyway. You can't not reflect your surroundings when you're young and the sort of chaos and then experimental parenting and all that. So I was either going to go one way or the other. And I think something saved me, you know, something stopped me going too wild because I mean, they're all very intellectual, my parents. So there was a bit there. It was there was a lot of contradictions going on, but I think if you see too much madness and you get into it,
Mm.
you're you sort of romanticize it. But a person I lived with here, in fact, ended up dying in a police cell. He was called the Sulfate Strangler, and he lived with me here. And he ended up dying in a police cell when I was 16. I think that really made me consider. I think he had a drug overdose, or they beat him up, or something. So it was pretty heavy. There were
Mm.
some pretty heavy characters around, and he was 6'7", and he strangled people. You know, that was
Wow.
his job. And it was unnecessary for him to be around, but it was almost like my nanny in a way. So, but when he died, I sort of made a choice then, I think.
Mm.
So it was pretty crazy. There was not a hint of that anymore. And I don't want that. You can't repeat that. I'm sort of grateful for it all, actually, in some way.
Of
I'm
course,
grateful
yeah.
I saw it all and I sort of it was a generational choice then. I don't think they made a mistake. They were freeing themselves up from a whole other kind of austere set of rules bestowed upon them from the
Mm.
Second World War onwards. And they suddenly made a bit of money and had the choice to Dad, especially wanted to live like like he wanted to.
Mm.
And that doesn't always set a good impression on everyone around you, but
Fuck 'em.
fuck them, yeah, exactly. It's all good.
That's
It
what
all
I'd
came out
say.
all right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I've got one more question for you, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your death row dinner?
What's a death row mean?
Death row. Like you're on death
Oh,
row.
death row dinner. Oh, I like. I went to this restaurant called. Have you ever heard of a restaurant called Fallow? It sounds quite
Yeah.
pretentious. Do you know? Have you ever been in there? Do you like?
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Fallow. Fallow. They do loads of like
Yeah,
interesting meat dishes.
all that shit. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
just
yeah,
do. They do like fucking Emily the Apes cod's head and all that, and they just do a
yeah.
hamburger there. And I went there the other day, and that was just fucking insane. It was sort of rare, and they're allowed to do it in a rare way, where it's not protected because you have a certain license to do it.
Mm.
That was fucking insane. It was just insane. It was just I would die for that. But yeah,
That sounds good.
it is so amazing. Yeah.
Great.
What would yours be?
Today changes a lot. Egg custard tart, shortbread egg custard tart, and a sausage
Like a
sandwich.
simple egg custard tart, like a
Yeah, you know,
Portuguese one,
no, not
Portuguese
Portuguese.
guys, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
a sort of
but like
rubbish Britishy one.
no. There's one. Okay, so I can. Yeah, so Hart's Bakery in Bristol. It's
Oh,
like
I know that. The one it's on a
under.
train station. That one, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
under the
under the
Temple Meads.
yeah. I like that. Yeah, it's the big place. Yeah.
On Fridays and Saturdays, they do an egg custard tart. I figured that out because I went 2 other days and it wasn't there, and I nearly trashed the plate. No, I didn't. But yeah, it's fucking perfect. It's a perfect thing. Well, thank you so much for your honesty, Baxter. I appreciate it.
I hope I was. I hope it came across that way.
Yeah, it's great.
It was good. I really enjoyed it. Actually, it's quite a serious at 10 o'clock in the morning, which I think is when you are more, you're more contrived a bit later on. Maybe you're more open
Yeah,
at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, it was good to chat, man.
Yeah, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it.
And hopefully we'll meet soon. And if you see Jeff, say hello.
I will. Yeah.
I'll be up there soon at some point. So we'll
Give
come
me a
and say hello.
shout.
We'll have a drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that was all right, mate.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Right.
Nice to
Have a
meet
good
you.
one. Cheers, man.
Bye, mate.